Hey everybody, it's time for Monster Art School. So, John, climb on. We're gonna do a rat samurai today. I'm just gonna take a second to do a little bit of printing out of something because I want to make sure I have a good rat reference and a good samurai reference to work from. So this is actually part of my process, is making sure that I have good reference to work from before I start just making stuff up. Because otherwise, I can make a mess out of things. I'd rather make sure that what I'm doing is pretty on point with what I'm drawing. So especially if I'm drawing something like samurai armor or a rat, I want to make sure that whatever I'm drawing feels right. So I downloaded some pictures and now I'm trying to find them, and I was going to print them out so that I have them. Here we go. So just give me 1 second and I will be on to do. Here we go. And now I just got to open them and print them. And I'll be there in 1 second. Sorry, everybody. So just take me a sec. Open. My computer's on the far side of the room, so I figured it would be better for me to print them out. That way I can see when I'm drawing it. But this is always a really important step. I usually do more research than this, trying to make sure that I'm not I want to have as much information as I can so that when I'm drawing, I have the information I need to do the drawing well. So give me 1 sec. I apologize for this taking so long. Okay, print that out. And then we're going to print out a samurai. I don't know why people are asking for samurai rats, but I've done them before for a game called Legend of the Five Rings. So it's kind of interesting that people ask for samurai rats. But, there you go. So that should be printing, and then we'll be ready to roll. So, hi, everyone. I'm back. This is Steve. We're going to be drawing a samurai rat today. I'm going to get a smaller sheet of paper, because even though this is good paper, I want to make sure that, I can use the big paper. What the heck? So there's my rat. And here's my samurai. This is actually a photo of an actual samurai. And there's my rat reference. So I wanted to make sure that I got good reference before I start going. Always get reference for everything I do. If it requires something naturalistic or real in any way, and usually my drawings do. So we're going to use this reference here. So we've got our rat, and I like the angle of the rat's head, so we're going to have to turn the armor to fit that. And then we'll go from there. So let's, I didn't get rat feet. That's going to be a problem, but I think maybe we can work that out with some different reference. So let's get to drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this camera in a little closer so that I'm going to move this up a little bit so I know just how far I can draw with you guys. And so I'll keep that drawing in this space right here. Okay, so let me get out. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my nice loose pencil here, and I'm going to start sketching. Where's my reference? My reference is here. So I'm going to draw the positioning for the character. So if I want the rat to be looking off to the side here, I'm going to kind of draw a triangle for the rat's head, and just to keep myself, draw a cone for the head there. And then from the back of the head down, I'm going to draw down to what would be the rat's shoulders about here. and his arms would be somewhere like, his hands and arms would be somewhere like this. It's maybe a little light, I know, but I'll get darker as we go. So there's the triangle. Let's see. I'm going to see if you can see it. You can't see it at all. So let me move in. Can you see the drawing now? Not really. Okay. A little darker then. So we'll get a little darker. This goes against my... Usually I draw around very lightly, and I kind of just sketch things in very softly and loosely with a light hand. I'm going to get in the ears, just mock them in. I'm going to mock in the hands, or block in the hands, I guess. And then I'll get the body in. And I think I'm going to have this rat in a fighting pose. So I'm going to give him one leg out like this, and the other leg out like that. So we're anthropomorphizing him. So a lot of this is going to be basically making him humanoid. So I'm going to give him some nice human thighs and a big belly. Well, not big belly, but rats kind of have this amorphous lower body that kind of seems to go off. It's because of all the hair. They do have ribs, and they do have a pelvis. So you got to keep that in mind when you're drawing. But now I'm going to draw along like this. I'm going to get this guy up. So I think I'm going to have his hands like this, and I'm going to give him a sword. And then his legs, rats have kind of backwards legs from us. So again, they go from the knee back to the what would be the heel to their toes, and they stand on their toes. So I'll spread the toes because I want to give it the impression that he's displaying his weight over his toes. So I'm going to spread those toes. And then on this leg, I'm going to push that forward. I'm going to move back. If anyone has any questions or problems, just let me know in case I'm not dark enough or whatever. Just please tell me, because I want to make sure you guys can see everything I'm doing. So we're going to put the toes like this. We're going to flatten them out, spread them out so that you can see the toes. All right, and then we're going to get the hands here. Now, rats have like little weird humanoid hands. So we'll get, but they have, I think they have three. No, they have four fingers. So I'll give them 4 fingers. In a way, we're going to draw him with human hands because he couldn't hold a staff or a sword if he didn't have human hands. So we will give him ratty human hands here. So I'm just going to draw these kind of loose fingers in here just to give them a sense of where the fingers should go. I'm going to draw the hands in as kind of like triangles. And then I'm going to go draw kind of the shoulder to the elbow to the wrist, shoulder to elbow to wrist on this side. All right. Now I want to indicate where his eye would be. His eye is going to be way up here, right? And his nose is going to be here. And we're going to draw under there to draw the muzzle area. And then we're going to draw under here for the cheekbone and then the lower eyelid. He's got a big old eyeball. And then we'll draw the upper eyelid there. Just getting it in. And then he has a brow because we can see the other place where the other eyeball comes out, just like on a human, right there. We're going to draw under and back to the neck to right about here. This is his cheekbone here. So we'll draw his cheekbone in. We'll run that up to the ear. And that is going to be our terminal line, essentially, for the rat right there. Terminal line being the area where we go from the light into the shadow. And I'll draw this ear off like so. Just to indicate it, and that ear up like that. Now, how do we turn this into a samurai? Well, next step, I'm going to get samurai helmet. Now, the samurai helmet has this back piece back here, this front kind of a visor, and then it's got a piece that goes on top of the head. Now, rats don't really have heads like humans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace these side pieces with his ears. And then I'm going to put this piece on the front. So I'm going to put that up there to protect his top of his cranium that he doesn't have, because rats don't have that, because they wouldn't wear armor like this. And then I'm going to put a visor piece over here, this visor piece, put that like so, and bring it down to right around where his ear is going to come out from the armor. And then we'll put this back part. Now this back part on the samurai armor is tied together plates. They're tied together like this, probably with more strings than I'm drawing in there, but it's plates of metal that overlap with ribbon or material holding them together. I don't know what the actual material is, but it is cloth. So we're going to draw that back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to do 4 because I like that number. And, you know, his mask, this samurai's mask has a mustache on it. I don't think he's going to have a mask, but I think we'll give him whiskers that kind of create a mustache just for fun. Now with the eye, we're going to go back to that whole, the upper eyelid overlaps the lower eyelid. So we'll do that. Now we've got our rat. And then let's see, he's got this neck piece. So we'll draw that in. Now the neck piece is going to have to go flat into his chest. So it has to curve like this and then flatten down into his chest a little bit like that. So I'm going to draw around these pieces to just get in the samurai armor pieces, just blocking it in right now, loosely thinking about how it's going to fit. And now you've got these pieces over the shoulders. So we'll draw those shoulder pieces in up here. And then we have this piece over his chest right here. So we've got a metal plate that comes like this. Hi, Blossom. That's my dog in the background. And it's got these straps here that hold it on. And then this piece comes down to his belly here. And then we have a nice wrap around his waist. And we'll go like so. I'm just going to draw it like a band for now. And then we'll put a knot here and maybe have the knot tied up like this. Because you don't want to have those hanging out when you're in battle because, you know, people can grab them. And then he's got to have his shoulder plates. So we'll give him some shoulder plates here that cover his shoulders and protect him from the sides. So another shoulder plate there. And then we're going to draw these pieces that hang down. And so we suddenly get the rat kind of standing there in a really cool pose. Let me see, make sure you can see all of that. I can zoom in a little closer, make it easier to see, maybe, I hope. All right, so now we're going to get on the legs down here. He's got these plates that cover his knees. So I think I'll show them, but I'm not going to make them really important because, oh, the dog is barking. I'm going to have to close the door and let my family take care of the dog. So give me 1 second. Hey, everybody, the dog needs to go out. Sorry about that. Okay, so life at home with Steve. Da-da-da. All right, so now we've got his lower legs here, and then he's got these plates that I'm going to put on his feet from his ankle, just because I thought it would be cooler to have it on his feet. And then we need his tail. I almost forgot about the tail. Since we have this nice arc to his body, I think it'd be nice to follow that arc that way with his tail, and maybe have his tail kind of go off like so. So we'll throw his tail on like this. Okay, now he needs a sword. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to give him this staff because if I give him a sword, I'm going to have to go get more research on sword. And since he has a staff already, since the samurai has a staff, we'll just stick the staff. It's not a staff, it's a bladed weapon, and I'm forgetting the name of it. So if someone knows the name of that bladed weapon, please let me know. It's got a long staff And at the top of it, it turns into a blade. It's kind of like a spear, but it's more of a knife than a spear. So now we've got all of that in. Now we can start blocking in the shape. So we'll go, or the what do you call it? The armor. So we'll get that in there. And then we'll get the stripes on the armor in here. In here. And really, I'm just roughing stuff in right now so that I can see it all. And once I get it all roughed in, I can go in and be a little more discerning about the lines I keep and the lines I get rid of. Let's get his, I imagine these would be called bracers if he was European, but he's not. So I'm sure they have another name for them in Japan. And then he's got cloth here. So I'll, very, very bunchy cloth. So I'll put some very, very bunchy cloth there. And some very, very bunchy cloth here to finish out his armor. I'll let his hair stick out a little bit there. Okay, so there, we've got the basics for our samurai rat. Now I don't need my reference as much anymore. I can be a little bit more detailed. So now I'm going to switch to, I tried to use a black colored pencil before, but it turned out to be dark blue. So I'm going to try and use a black colored pencil. But I had trouble finding it earlier. So let's see if I can find one. If not, I'll just use dark blue. Indigo's fine. Or I have dark gray. Let's see. Well, this is gris chaude. It's French for dark gray. So we will do dark gray, I think, today. Oh, wait, no. Ta-da! There it is. Our savior colored pencil black. So I'm going to sharpen my black colored pencil real quick. So cover your ears because it's going to be loud. Not as loud as I thought, but okay. Now that I've got my sharpened colored pencil and my eraser, where'd my eraser go? I'm going to start choosing what lines I want to keep and what lines I want to get rid of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that rat picture for a little bit just so I can get the nose right. So the nose is this triangle shape here. So I'm going to get that in there. And basically, in a way, I'm kind of inking with my colored pencil. So anything I don't want, I just erase with the pencil. Erase with my eraser. And then I can go back in with the colored pencil to reinforce it afterwards. And so notice what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using these little tiny hatch marks. I'll move my table in a little closer. Using these little tiny hatch marks to kind of show the edge because I want to give the impression that he's furry. So these little tiny hash marks kind of give that impression. And you see the whiskers almost create stripes. So I'm going to go across here to give the impression of those stripy whiskery things. And then I'm going to draw this with some nice dark lines across there. Whoops, let me erase that. What's nice is this colored pencil actually erases off this paper, so that's actually pretty good. So now I'll bring that shadow in. I want to remember that my shadows, that everything on this side of the cheekbone, that being the cheekbone there, is in the shadow world, or in the shadow side. So I'm going to remember that by keeping this dark over here. So I'll get it dark. I'm going to get these little areas in here dark. But I want to keep some light area in there as I'm drawing it so that there's still the impression that this is fur and not just a slick black edge. So I'm going through and kind of keeping these marks separated out so that they give that impression. And I'm going to do the same around his eye here. And then I will, now under his eye, I want to draw the underside here. I'm going to draw the tear duct there. And I'm going to make him look a little bit like he's protecting. So I'm going to give him a little bit more indented area around his eye socket there, just to make it look like he's looking down. I'm going to overlap the lid over the top, like so. I'm going to give that some shadow. And then from his nose, it's going to go down a little bit and then back up to where his brow is up here. And then I'm going to put his pupil in. And I might later on go in and, let me see, maybe shade this a little bit of midtone, and then keep a nice bright highlight up there. Okay. So that's kind of a nice little highlight. So now up here, I'm going to draw the armor helmet coming around like so, covering over his head here. That's the brow, the kind of the brim. And oh, I almost forgot. I wanted to put these on his head. Let me make sure you can see this. Yeah, good, you can. Okay, good. I'm going to have these up here are going to be his armor. And I'm going to measure those so I know that they go along with the shape of his face. Like that. Let's get that in there. So now we're going to come. This is my reflection on the armor. I'm going to do like a black area, and then we'll have marks moving away from it to create the light area. I'm going to draw up and around, and then we'll come around up and around for the rest of these kind of designs up here. I don't know what these are called, but they're really cool. Samurai had these really, really interesting helmets. I'm doing an extra line here to show that this is three-dimensional, not just two-dimensional flat thing. And then we're going to go up to the top of the helmet. There's like a little button on top, probably where all of these pieces come together. And so we're going to draw up and around and over, pointing towards that button for the ridges on the helmet. And I'm even going to draw like there's a design on this. Just for the heck of it, we'll do some design there. And now the helmet's going to end there, and we'll draw his ear. Let me get that reference back. So his ear folds under, so we'll follow that. And we come up like so. I'm going to change the direction of his ear just because I want it to be bigger and more noticeable. And I'm going to have it go in and around and out like that, just like it is in the photo. So this will be the darkest area in here where no light can get through. So that'll be the darkest area. And let me just create a little shadow on his head from where the helmet is blocking the light from above on his head. And we'll just do that. And on the side of his helmet, we're just going to go put some shadows in here. All right. Now, because this area here is kind of under the auspices of the helmet, I'm imagining it gets shaded. So I'm going to let this go under, get darkened. And then we're going to go with the armor coming around like so. And we want to draw around it. So I'm bringing it from behind around to the front. And that's so that I can make you certain that you're seeing things coming from behind and around. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to from behind and around. And then we'll do the same. We'll go around to the back, around to the back, around to the back. And then up here we'll draw some hair up here just to make us know for sure that he's furry in between these areas of armor. And I want to cast a shadow on this armor from his ear down. So we'll darken the interior of his ear a little bit. And then we'll cast a shadow down from his ear there. And then the armor underneath his chin. If we follow here, there should be this shadow. So we will shade that in a little bit. Okay, and then we'll do that here on the inside of his arm, and we'll do that here on the inside of his armor plating there. Remember, everything casts a shadow, so this armor is going to cast a shadow on his hair here. And then we can design the armor to have patterns on it, like the samurai armor here. So we'll draw loosely. I'm usually loose about these things just because it's such a small drawing. I'll get in some pattern in here. Really, I'm just drawing kind of stripes, but I'm keeping them loose so that they feel like they have a little bit of a texture like of cloth wrapped around metal, which is what they used. And then in here too, we'll do the same. If you guys are asking questions, I can't really answer them right now, but I can answer them afterwards because my back is to my computer and I can't get to it. So in here, I'm going to draw some patterns. And I'll try to make them look somewhat like the ones I see in real life. Like if I had more time, I would sit down and really make sure these look like the right exact patterns, because that way you do something that both respects the original and does something fun by making it a mouse or a rat, I guess in this case. So my terminal line's right here. So I'm going to let this all go to shadow underneath that. So we'll only really see the light area up there. And that's fine because I want to make sure that I'm not spending all my time drawing all of these details. But what I can do in here is I can make sure the ridges of these pieces of armor feel like they're folding over each other. So as the cast shadow from the head falls here and the shadow from up here, I can kind of allow this area down here to start to come back into light here. So I'll let that happen. Basically, you're getting two groups of shadows, one from the front of the head and one from the ear and the neck. So I want to just kind of let these shadows fall over the figure. So there we go. That's his head. Now let's get his shoulder pieces in. Shoulder piece 1, shoulder piece 2. I'm going to make them a little simple. Just keep them like they're made out of metal. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a shine. And that's just a softer touch with the pencil. And remember, the darker you make the terminal line and the higher the contrast, the more it feels like metal. So that's going to feel more like metal than this will until I do this. Now, I'm going to zoom. Oh, yeah, I need to zoom back out. Okay, cool. I'm going to move over a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. I hope I didn't make you seasick. Oh, I need my armor reference. Just to keep me honest, I want to keep my armor reference on. So this piece of armor is going to go to shadow, but I want to make sure that the whiskers still come through. So I'm going to bring the whiskers down, and then I will draw between the whiskers in the shadow of the armor here. And that should give the impression that the whiskers are catching light against the edge of the armor here. Okay, and then draw the whiskers over here too. So he looks like a real mean samurai mouse, rat, sorry. Now, let's get, whoa, more materials falling off. Okay, here. So now I want to get this cloth in there. Now the cloth has some patterns and stuff on it, but I think I'm just going to try and keep this simple because I don't want to get too bogged down in patterns. But I am going to pay attention to these very, very heavy, thick folds because I really want to make it feel like that heavy, thick material that they wear. So I'm going to make sure that the material here feels very thick and folded over. And then I'm going to put straps here. And I can't really see exactly how that works, but I think that works pretty well. Draw the armor in. Again, if I was doing this for a job or for a client, I'd be getting really, really detailed about all this stuff. I'd really get into that. But, you know, since I'm not, and we're just kind of doing this offhand, I figure I can be forgiven for anything I'm doing badly here. So again, the cloth, I'm going to give it a little bit of texture so we know it's not the metal, but I'm not going to give it the intense texture that I would give the fur. So I want to give it a little bit of just little hatch marks to make it feel different from the metal. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to get rid of some of this this old pencil because it's kind of making it a little messy in here. I kind of like that. Sometimes I like that feel, but I also like to get rid of it when it interferes with the drawing. So like up here in the ear, I kind of want to get rid of it here so that the ear comes forward a little bit better. So let's see. Since we're not going to see this shoulder anymore, I'm just going to get rid of that altogether so that we don't, that's no longer an issue. And I'm going to get these plates in. And the plates are going to have ridges on them where they're attached. So kind of creating this ridge thing here. There we go. And we're going to shade that in underneath it. Now, next step is I'm going to create his chest armor down here. And I'm going to quickly switch to the material coming wrapped around his belly because I want to make this a bigger, more prominent feature of his armor, because I think on a rat, this would probably be wider than on a person. Don't ask me why, just that's what I think. So I'll bring that around, and then the armor, we'll just give it a few pieces. And we'll draw some shadows down, being cast by the arm, down over the armor here. And we'll draw a shadow being cast by the arm over the armor here. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm kind of skipping areas, like I'm skipping where the staff is, because I'm probably going to get a ruler soon and go in and make that a very nice sharp staff. I think I'm going to do that now. Because otherwise, if I don't rule it out, it's going to look pretty bad. So I'm going to grab my ruler. I got to do it that way, because otherwise it will turn. So I'm going to grab my ruler. I'm going to hold it and bring it across. And then I'll do the same. This is not the best ruler for this angle, I'm sorry to say. And my table keeps moving. Okay. This is not my usual drawing table. This is actually an old ornithology lab table from Cornell Ornithology Lab, where they used to have people draw birds. So it's a little old, and the floor, I think, in my studio is a little bit not very even. So, okay, so we've got our rat started. Let's see what else we need to do here. Like sharpen my pencil. Let's get these hands in. Now, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable with the fact that I don't know how many fingers the rats have. So I'm going to do another piece of reference on rat paws. So I'm going to look at my phone and I'll type in rat paw and hope that I will get an image of a rat paw. And no, I won't quite. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. So its forehand is 4 fingers, and its back foot has 5. So see, 4 and 5. So we're going to go with 4 on the front there. So where's my eraser? Where's my eraser? Switching to a kneaded eraser because I dropped my other eraser on the floor, because you got to do what you got to do. So I'm going to grab my other pencil so I can erase it a little easier. So I'm going to very quickly mark in the knuckles that are holding this. And all the knuckles should be kind of in a row. And I'm going to bring this finger around to the first joint. And note, I'm allowing them to go around the surface of the pole. And I'm going to go to the next joint down, like so, and then bring them under. This will all make sense in a minute. I'll do the same here. I'm going to go over, over, over. So there. That now go in with my colored pencil, and I can get in and really do this part of the hand. Oh, I gave them thumbs. Oh, well, they're going to have human hands. Do. Oh, well. So maybe you should only have 3 fingers and a thumb. Let's see. Can I erase it? Yes, I can. All right, good. So I will do that. So I'm going to make it 3 fingers here and a thumb there. And here we'll go 3 fingers and a thumb. And I'm going to use shading to really make this feel 3-dimensional by blocking these areas down with shadow, blocking the back of the hand with shadow, and really puts the fingers in relief so you can see them a little bit better. So now once I get rid of this these loose pencil marks in there, the fingers will really come into relief. You can start seeing them pop out now. All right, now we've got, yeah. If I had a little more time, I'd make sure that the fingers actually look like they're wrapping around the stick. This looks okay. The stick's a little bit wide. So, oh well, we'll just have to deal with that. And then we're going to get, he's got to have armor on the back of his hand, like so. And then we'll go to the straight plates that come around here. They're all tied together with cord or with cloth. So on these, I'm going to put the lower part of his arm in shadow, this being the terminal line here. And then I will, the cast shadow right underneath the arm will make really dark because really no light can get in there. So I want to make sure you know exactly what that is. So I'm going to bring this here, draw that terminal line in, and then everything's going to get a little lighter, and then it's going to get darker where this meets the belly down here. Imagine his elbows touching his belly. So it's going to get darker, and then you're going to have the reflected light, and then it gets to black. Okay, so there's that. And I'm going to bring this in. There we go. Now, let's get to this knot. I want to draw around the knot. Over. And then we'll get the folded material coming out like this. I can't look at the notes, guys. I'm sorry. I will later on. I don't have anyone helping me today. So it's just what I can do. But I can look at them later. So that's the cloth part of his belt kind of coming around. And then I'm going to check the time and see where we're at. 3:41. So we have 5 minutes. I don't want to rush this because I'm really liking it. So I'm going to try and give this a little bit more time to finish it up nice. So I'm going to try and finish it here on camera. Although I do have to get to work and draw some comics and some other fantasy stuff that I have to work on. But we'll get these plates in. I'm going to block in the shadows of everything for now. So these plates cast shadows on their legs. So we'll do that. This leg casts a shadow on here. So we'll get that in. We'll get the toes in. And so it's knuckle, knuckle, toe, knuckle, knuckle, toe, knuckle. Did this before with the dinosaur. Knuckle, knuckle, toe, knuckle. And that way you've got the claw here and the 3 knuckles and then the pad of the foot that he's standing on there. And let's put a piece of armor there. And we'll do the same over here. I'm splaying these out a little bit so that it looks like he's standing in a wide stance, requiring his toes to splay out so that his weight is displaced onto the ground evenly so he doesn't fall over. So I'm going to give him this nice splay to his toes. And then we'll put the armor on his foot. And then we'll go up to his ankle. And we'll give some cloth. We'll put some cloth on this part here, even though it should probably be. So we've got that. Now, again, I'll probably go in and decorate this armor a little bit later. So I'll get the tail in. And remember, things that are further away from the light source will be heavier lined underneath. So I'm going to give it a heavier line with a lighter line on top. So as this comes around and curves under, I'm going to get heavier here because it's going away from the light. And then we're going to curve like so as we get into the light. And then, so now we've got our weapon, which I don't remember the name of. Should know that. And I think this is where I'm going to end for now, guys. I'll give this a little bit of a texture to make it feel like metal. I'll go shade in there. But I think, I don't know what you guys think, but that looks pretty finished to me. There you go. And oh, you couldn't see my other foot. I'm sorry. So there's the other foot. Now you can see the whole thing. Maybe not. Whoops. There we go. So now you can see the whole thing. The feet are splayed out. The toes are splayed. That might have been what that ding was about. And always put a shadow underneath where an object meets another object. So if the toes are meeting the ground, always put a shadow. And that should be your darkest shadow because that's called an occlusion shadow. That's where 2 objects meet together. So, and then you'll have the cast shadow of the body under here, which connects, which basically gives him a ground to stand on. And you know what? I'm going to give him, I don't usually only do this for the kids show, but just for fun, I'm going to put a frame on this guy because I like him so much. I'm going to frame him up. We'll bring this down. And across. So now we have our little rat soldier samurai, the double frame, standing ready to fight the evil, I don't know, snakes? Maybe? What do you think this rat guy fights? So we put a frame around him, and then we'll put our name, our nom de plume. So I'll put my name down here. And that is the end with an exclamation point of today's session. So I hope that was fun, as fun for you as it was for me. I really enjoyed drawing this guy. I'm going to probably go in and finish out some of this stuff like the armor and some of these other things. I might even scan this in and turn this into a finished piece because I liked it so much. I'm going to add little textures like on his tail to make it feel like skin, gross rat skin. And I'm going to add some round areas on the weapon to make it feel like a three-dimensional object. And I'll probably tighten up some of these shadows, draw cast shadows in places that need them, like under here and under here. But for the most part, this is like 85, 95% done as a drawing. And then I could take this as a finish to a client pretty soon. Maybe just add some more shadow in here and it'll be a finished piece. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me at Monster Art School today, the advanced lesson. I'm Steve Ellis. You can find me here on Facebook at Steve Ellis or at Steve Ellis Artist. And you can find my website at steveellisart.com. And right now I'm running a Kickstarter for my Thornclaw Monster Family playing card deck and book. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. It's on Kickstarter under Thornclaw, whatever I just said. You can find the link on my page. All right. Have a great day and have fun drawing today. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, where's the Facebook thing? Where's Facebook? Where am I recording? And 3, 2, and live video.